Okay, guys, welcome to a video by AntiquesArena and Nick from Nick and Andrea Hills. So before I go into telling you what the video is about, just want to welcome Nick, and you can say hi.
Hi, Edward. Good to see you. How are you?
All right, mate. It's been a while. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a chat today. Basically, I did a film a few days ago, giving tips, secrets, if you like, from my own personal experience between car boot sales, auctions, and so forth. Well, that started quite a big debate on auctions. People disagreeing with my opinion on auctions. So that's why I thought you and I can have a little chat. We'll look at the pros, the cons, and maybe take some comments and see what people think. And just have a general chat about auctions and car boot sales.
Absolutely. Sounds good to me. Right, I can't actually see the chat. I'll leave that to you.
Right, well, I'll say hello then quickly. We got Money Mental UK, Richard, and Pommy Pickers. Hi, guys, and anyone else watching. So, what's your experience with auctions then, Nick? Have you had much?
In the earlier days, for those that don't know our story, myself and my wife started reselling full-time in 2002. And at that point, we were regularly going to an auction here in Hitchin, which doesn't exist anymore. And we bought up more the sort of stuff you buy and sell. We were more into that then. These days, if you watch my channel, you can see car parts here, and I do toys and games and more modern stuff.
Yeah.
But we were much more into the vintage then, and we bought a lot of that from auction. We got out of the habit of that because we found going to boot sales was just better all round for us. We can go into that in a bit if you like, but then we dabbled again recently with auctions, going back a year or so, but again that was buying modern stuff in bulk to send into Amazon mainly. Right. But yeah, I've bought at auction and sold at auction a few times, so I have some experience.
Right, well, as anybody in the antiques world knows, I started out in auctions, and probably everybody did. But I've got a list of pros and cons. I don't know what ones you've wrote up, but the biggest pro has to be, let's be honest, the sheer volume of stock available in one location.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go to an auction house and you've got hundreds and hundreds of pieces. Well, some auctions, 2,000 lots that they get through in a day or 2 days. So that's one of the pros of auctions. So why do you move from that?
It is one of the pros, but within that, let's say you go to an auction and there's 1,000 lots, you've got to be there all day. And maybe if you want, the handful of lots at 10 a.m. and then there's a bunch that some places are still going at 5, 6 in the evening.
Yeah.
So you can lose a whole day, and you've got no guarantee you're going to win those lots.
No.
You can spend 12 hours at an auction and come away with nothing. Whereas if I go to a car boot sale, I can pretty much guarantee I will find some stuff, if not fill up the car. So, yeah, that's one side. Is you're not guaranteed anything, and it can take you forever to not win that stuff.
Well, you're not guaranteed anything at the car boot sale or flea market either. But the difference is you're not there for 6 hours on pins with your stomach churning, waiting. Am I going to win it, or am I going to have to overpay?
Exactly.
It's either going to be there for you to buy, or it's not there, in which case half hour, you're on your way home, isn't it?
Exactly. And going back to the pros of auctions, a big one is that if you have a preview day at the auction that you're going to, you can go and you can have that time. You don't have any time at the boot sale, really. It's kind of bun fight, who's going to get to it first. But having said that, so you can go through carefully all the lots, do your research if you want to the day before, but so can everybody else.
Yes.
You see what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I think they both have positives, but for me, I think the boot sales win, particularly for what I am, which is a generalist. I do like the vintage stuff, but I also pick up modern and everything in between.
Yeah.
So boot sales, I think, tick more boxes for me.
Well, I'm the same as you. What started this all off was, right, I actually stated that if you go to a car boot sale, you've got to have a bit of knowledge behind you, or you've got to know where you're buying. Whereas if you go to an auction, First of all, the auctioneer goes through everything. So you've got to fight against the auctioneer's knowledge, because if there's anything in a miscellaneous box or individually that he thinks is worthwhile, he's going to single out and he's going to describe accurately to get the best price possible. On top of that, then you've got hundreds of dealers in that same room who are all got a vast amount of knowledge between them, digging in these same boxes or on the individual items. So my argument was originally basically, you can get a sleeper at auction, but it's generally, in my opinion, who's willing to take the least profit, or you buy the stuff that the better dealers don't want. You buy the miscellaneous boxes where you've got to really work hard for 10 and 20 pound items, because you're just not going to find that gem of a 30 pound painting into a 3,000 pound or a £5 spoon into 200 pound. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's exceptions, and I'm sure people do find them, and I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
I think that's getting, the odds of that are reduced because of, like you say, how many dealers have been through that box, through that rack of stuff, whatever it is. Plus, most of them are online now anyway.
Yeah.
So you've got a few thousand people online browsing all these images and checking everything. So whereas at a car boot sale, you know, somebody's cleared their granny's loft and just brought it all down and dumped it on a table. There's, you know, it's just, can you get to that table quick enough? And if you're lucky enough to have you're the first pair of eyes on it, that's it. You know, it's a
lot of the stuff I buy it as it's in their hand, come into the table. Because I've clocked it coming out of a car, going to the table, and I love that, please.
Of course.
You know, it isn't on the table for seconds. But if that was in an auction house, I couldn't afford to buy it, because so many people would want the items I sell. I couldn't afford to pay it and still make a profit.
Exactly. So for me, that the big advantage of boot sales is that there's a number of things you can do to sort of weigh the odds in your favor. You can get there as early as possible. You know, you can go around, you can get to know certain dealers there. There's tactics you can use at a boot sale to stack the odds in your favor of being the first at that stall before anyone else has gone through it. Whereas with an auction, it's a level playing field. Everyone has the preview day. Everyone has the same amount of time to look at it.
And everybody has the description of the auctioneer.
Yeah.
So you don't even need the knowledge. You know, anybody can start up doing this business, go to an auction house. The auctioneer will tell you exactly what it is. The auctioneers should have enough knowledge to know if it's fake or not. So realistically, anybody can go to an auction and say, right, I'm going to use the catalog, I'm going to buy that lot, put it on eBay and use the auctioneer's description, make a profit. You go to car boot sale, you need a bit of knowledge there, and it's down to what you know and what you like to buy, innit?
Yeah. I'm going to try and get the chat open. Bear with me. Carry on. I'm just going to try and find.
Yeah, it's all right.
See if I can do it. So are you still going to auctions or not?
I haven't done auctions, believe it or not, for about 6 to 8 years. I used to go to Nigel Ward up in Hereford. Now, a big drawback for me is if I go to a viewing, it's 2 hours each way from me. So I'd go up, do the viewing, mark up what I wanted, come home. Then it's another 2 hours if you want to go up on the day of the auction. And then you're there all day, and they run 2 separate auctions at the same time, different rooms, and an outside auction. It was a lot of work involved, but I did have some amazing things back then. But, you know, that was 8 years ago. The antiques game was a different game. eBay wasn't as strong and as big and popular as it is now. You know, everybody can check a price on eBay now. You know, there weren't as many sellers doing it, so the dealers there were a lot less dealers in an auction house. Now, I've been to a few auctions. I went to an auction just for a browse. I think it was a year ago. I didn't buy nothing. And there must have been 150 dealers in my local auction house, Pontypridd down the road. And honestly, the price they were paying for stuff, they could have come to my shop and bought it cheaper. They really could.
So having said that, then, are you using it to sell stuff through or not?
No, because their commission is absolutely atrocious. By the time you pay minimum £5 per lot, then like 20% plus VAT, or if you've got a good one, 15% plus VAT. You know, it kills it. You know, there's another downside to auction there. You got a commission whether you're a buyer or seller. If you're a buyer, you know, you pay enough for the stuff in auction. You know, you buy something for £100, it's costing you 125 by the time you come out.
Yes. Yeah, I've got that down on my cons for auctions is the fees. And for somebody who is perhaps watching this and thinking, well, I'm going to get into auctions, just really be honest with yourself about how much you're paying. You know, you've got the fees and the VAT. Not every auction house has VAT. I don't know why that is, but
they should do. If they're breaking over a certain threshold, they should still do VAT.
Yeah.
So unless they're a very small auction house,
but don't get,
unless it's for charity, because I know sometimes the charity lots don't include VAT. So
right.
It might be something to do with that. I don't know.
Yeah, but be careful because there's a big chunk of fees on top. And at least at the boot sale, you know, whatever the seller says is the price, that's it.
Well, it's not. You can knock them down.
Well, exactly. Oh, absolutely.
You can't haggle with an auctioneer. Well, you can, but at the end of the auction, when you can go for the unsolds, which I used to do a lot, I'd go around the auction house and I'd say, what have new sold? And let me have a look at it. But in the car boot sale, you can haggle.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, I do it force of habit now.
I tend to judge it on the item and the cost. If I'm already making a fortune on something, I look at it and I say, do you know what? You were here to pay the bills, have the money. If it's that cheap. Because in all honesty, you know, I buy stuff so cheap because of I have such a wide knowledge in areas that I'm pretty, you know, I'm pretty easy. Because it's nothing I don't go for. I can pick anything up. And I tend to find really good pieces for nothing at all. I'm very lucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I know what you mean. I mean, I've kind of heard myself haggling at a boot sale before, and then I've caught myself thinking, this is so cheap. Why are you even wasting your breath? Just buy the damn thing, Nick. But it becomes a force of habit. They say 5, I'll offer 3. It's just and we'll meet at 4. That's how it works, right? But sometimes, yeah, it's rude to sometimes when it's so cheap.
I got a friend, right, who used to sell at car boot sales, and he'd have, let's say for argument's sake, a glass vase. And if he turned around to someone and said £1 and they said 50p, he'd smash her in front of them. That's because it was that cheap, and they had the cheek to haggle. Go, now you can't have it. Off.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not lying to you. He'd smash the stuff in front of them if they tried haggling him down to 50 pence or something. Oh, they were the days.
Oh, just my wife's in the chat. Hello. And George is in there. Kirsten's in there.
Hi, all. There's a couple of people disagreeing with the auctions. Now, I'm not saying you can't make a really good living on the auctions. That's not what we're saying. We're just weighing up car boot sale buying versus auction buying. And we're looking at the pros and cons of auctions and car boot sales. Richard, I see Richard's in the chat. A good pro for Richard for the auction would be it's got disabled access. Richard's a disabled gentleman, and who can't go around fields and things, but he could attend an auction house. So in that aspect, it's got its place. You have a mic. Is it going to work?
I'll just carry on using this one. You can say hello to Edward, are you in? Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Andrea. How are you, love?
I'm good, thanks.
Can I trouble you for
your show? It was good.
Thank you. Sorry we overran.
Yeah, I was going to say a positive for auctions. Going back to the last time we were dabbling with auctions was a good year and a half or so ago. I was buying pallets of new stock in bulk. I bought like stuff for Amazon. What was I buying? Like chocolate coin makers, like a kid's toy. But there was like 150 of them.
Yeah.
Now you do sometimes run into that at car boot, but that's more likely to be at an auction where big companies are clearing dead stock.
Yeah.
And that was perfect for us. And also because they broke it down into lots. I won the first lot and then I had an option and I just said, I'll take all of it.
In that sense, you couldn't have got that at the car boot sale. So there's a good one where the auctions are brilliant for you. Yeah.
So obviously there's things you can get at auction that you may not be able to find easily at a car boot sale and vice versa. Yeah. But I think on balance, like I said before, I will use car boots more than auctions. Although having said that, we are going to go back to auction this year and try and use it for exactly what I just described, buying brand new stuff by the pallet load.
Yeah.
And then sending it off to Amazon is the plan. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I hope
there's another area that auctions could work. I don't do that type of thing because, as you know, I do anything antique and collectible. and they don't come in bulk. If they do, it's something seriously wrong coming out of China.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works perfectly for that. But for what I need, to be honest with you, I need antique fairs for the higher end quality or car boot sales, and then I pay what price I want to pay, and I look for mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
My local auction house is a police auctions, and they'd be right up your street. They sell stuff by the pallet full down there. They do all the police clearances and things.
Yeah, I would love that.
But for me, it's no good because silver down there goes up near enough £1 a gram. Yeah. Whereas when I buy at a car boot sale, I buy it for pennies.
I was just reading Antique Curios. It says, auctions win hands down for me. I buy job lots. Well, there you go. The bigger, the better, as the public don't want job lots and the trade don't want huge job lots. Nick proved this with the car parts all. Of course, all the car parts came from auction. Everything you see behind me here.
But again, bulk items. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing I touched on. I said, if you want to buy miscellaneous or job lots, you can make money on them that way. But bear in mind, the auctioneer has already taken out of that parcel any real gems. Mm. And if it is a real gem in there, then you've got 100 dealers looking at that parcel thinking, well, all right, I'll pay X amount for that gem. I don't care about the rest. Because I know a couple of people who used to bid on a lot, take what they wanted and say, there you go, take it away. So they didn't have to clear it. Because up in Ross on Wye, they sell auctions, house clearance stuff by the pen. You know, pig pens? It's an old cattle market.
Right.
And they sell stuff by a pen. So like an 8x10 room, if you like, full of stuff just dumped in. And I know a few people who would pick a few pieces out of that and they'd leave the rest. You ain't allowed to leave it there, but they'd give it away or sell it to another dealer really cheap. So the bulk lots, they're a good way of making money, but then you've got to sell lots and lots of little 10 and 20 pound items to make your money. Whereas one good piece from a car boot sale, you've made a couple of £100.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, a lot of where you will source and how you source comes down to your business model. And your business model is totally different to mine. It's totally different to everyone's in the chat. And that's the beauty of it. And we find a way of sourcing that suits, A, the sort of stuff we're looking for, and B, how we choose to run our business. I was just reading again. Oh, I've lost it in the chat. Where was it? I can't find it.
Well, while you're looking in the chat, I'll just mention another pro that I had mentioned down, which is the online bidding, which covers people with any sort of disability, physical, mental, or anything else. Mm-hmm. Anything vintage but there is just put down auction scare her. Well, the good thing is you can view online if you want with the auctioneer's description. You can buy online using the online bidding, the sale room, and then they can ship it out to you. So you haven't even got to leave your house. It is that simple.
Yeah.
Auctions, it can be a scary room if you want to actually attend.
It can be. And going back to what Anything Vintage said there about auctions scaring you, I mean, I was quite intimidated. The first time I went to a live auction, you're in a room with people that give off that they're you know, they know what they're doing and they look down on you because you're new. And, you know, you put your hand up for the first time and half the room looks at you like, who are you? So, you know, but what I would say was, and I was much more shy back then, going back 20 years, you know, and I struggled with that. But after the first one, I got a buzz out of it. I got a buzz out of beating these dealers to the hammer. You know, I was really enjoying it. And within a few weeks of going, nobody gives you a second look. So I would say persevere with it, go and give it a try, but don't be intimidated by these people. They're just...
and don't be afraid to scratch your nose and things. Oh, that's a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
You need eye contact with the auctioneer for him to take your bid. You know, you don't just go like that and you've bid. You know, a little wink can do it, but the auctioneer's got eye contact with you before and he knows you're interested in the lot. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't just look around and you've bid. It's not that easy.
And it is good fun. Once you do get past that feeling nervous or intimidated, it is good fun. You do get an adrenaline rush. Even if you've been doing it a long time, when you're in a battle over something you really want, the adrenaline goes through the roof. It's crazy.
Let me give you an example. Back about 6-7 years ago, I went up to Ludlow, to an auction up in Ludlow, and they had 2 Irish cork glass decanters, late 18th century there, and they had them estimated £100 to £200. I come home, I didn't sleep all night, literally, stomach churning, wanting these decanters. I went up the following day, done the auction, and I'd actually allowed £400 to £500 to buy these decanters. They went up £1,200. And I felt pig sick all night, all day, worrying, am I going to get them? And they went dear. I just sold them for. I don't like the auctions because it makes my stomach churn, and I'm constantly, am I going to get it? I don't like failing anyway. If I want something, if I mark 10 items down, I want 10 items going home. I really don't like not getting what I want.
Well, that can be a problem, can't it? Because if you're not strict with yourself and set yourself a price, that can be an issue then.
Yes, then when I used to do this, when I started out doing this, I had very little knowledge. I'm self-taught. I used to buy from auctions and other dealers. That's how I learned. I'd buy off other dealers, read their description on the items, then I'd have an example and a description to match. Or I'd go to auction, I'd use the auctioneer's catalogue. But for the first 5 years, I don't think I made a penny. In fact, I'd say I made a loss every single year for the first 5 or more years. Where I was learning and buying from the auction, I didn't have enough knowledge to make any money. It was only through determination and wanting to be in the antiques and, a hoarder tendency that kept me buying. But it's not easy to buy from auction and make profit. The people that do that on a daily basis, I've taken my hats off to them. It's either they got a very good local auction where they don't have hundreds of dealers, but the auctions I go to around here, I can't touch the stuff.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, not all auction houses are the same. They vary wildly with the sort of stuff you'll get there, the sort of dealers that are there, and the sort of prices they would command. Yeah, I was just reading. I found the comment I was looking for before. Okay. Rust Reloaded says, I love auctions. You get time to people watch between the lots you're interested in. You're not walking around a field in the emptying down rain at 5 a.m. You can take a flask and drink tea all day long. So yeah, you do have a lot of time to sit and in between lots, which can be a positive if you just want a relaxing day. But I found that part of it frustrating.
I find that frustrating because I'm constantly churning on, am I going to get the lot, and waiting for the lot to come up. And as for sitting down for a cup of tea, one of the car boot sales I go to, Sully car boot sale in Barry Island, on the seafront, cricket field, you can do the car boot sale here, walk down to the end of the car boot sale, put a picnic out, and you're on the seafront. It's no different. You can do it. And it's not always raining, trust me. I know it's Wales where I am, but it's not always raining. We do have some dry days. I don't know about you, Nick.
Yeah, we have a few dry days. Kirsten's saying again, people watching is my favourite part of the auctions. And also says, this is Kirsten again, totally agree, Nick. I laugh at the pompous behaviour now. It's all gesturing, but it's intimidating at first. It really is. And some antique dealers, not wanting to tie you all with the same brush, but they really up themselves, some of them, and they look down their nose at you, and it's ridiculous because we're all dealers. We just choose to run businesses in different ways.
You've got an appointment to go and view. Have you ever heard something so crazy in your life? I used to rent a unit in Bartlett Street in Bath, which is, if you like, it's an antique centre in a tourist town. And every time I'd go up there on a Wednesday to fill my cabinet up, I'd go around the town. And they'd have 2 or 3 really nice, posh-looking shops. And, you had to make an appointment to go in and view.
Right.
Now, that's up your ass.
Yeah. Crumbs. Gary says in the chat, just received over 50 lots I bought in English auctions this week, shipped to Northern Ireland, going to do very well out of it. So that goes to show. I mean, I've heard a lot of people doing that. They buy from auctions up and down the country and just get it shipped out.
That's like taking coal to Newcastle, and you're buying from one area where something may not be very valuable or saleable and taking it to another area. I've done that all over, bought something this end and taking it to where it's saleable and vice versa. in that sense, yes. Or he's been very good and bought some job lots or things like that. But individually, I don't know. Is the money still in the auctions?
I think it depends a lot on what your auction house is like. There are people who can still go and regularly do really well out of it. I know Ken Chapman. I don't know if you know Ken.
Yeah, Ken.
He still buys a lot at auction and does fantastically well out of it.
He buys job lots of military items and things like that. And then he'll individually list every single badge and every single button and things like that.
Yeah, and he'll buy 1,000 postcards at a time and break that down to individual cards. And if that is your business model, I think the auction house is the perfect place to go.
That's the only place to go in, let's be honest, because you get success.
Exactly. So I think it does work, but again, it comes back to how you're choosing to run your business and what the stock you're looking for is. If you're adaptable, then yeah, I'm sure you could adapt to it and find a way of making it work for you.
I just watched your wife do a video just now. One of the things they mentioned, they asked about, do they source through the week or do they have specific days? And one of the things one of the ladies said was, it depends on the auction days. They only source on the days the auctions are running. Well, around here, auctions are either fortnightly or monthly. So could you imagine if you went to an auction now in Cardiff, right? You've done all the viewings the day before and everything. You put your bids down, you didn't win nothing. If you only bought out of auction, you've got to wait another month to get more stock. Could you imagine having to wait that long? Because we've only got probably 3 or 4 auctions locally or within a half-hour drive, 45-minute drive of where I am. Obviously, that's going to change wherever you are in the country or in the world. But auctions are not a daily event unless you're willing to drive out quite a way.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'd be under pressure to make sure you win stuff. Well,
if you can't find nothing at the car boot sale, you've got charity shops you can go to any day of the week. You've got antique centres, you've got flea markets, it's just so many options.
Yeah. Let's have a look in the chat. Hey, Rod, good to see you. Rust Reloaded says, a good auctioneer will get to know what you're likely to bid on and look at you for those items. Yeah, they will get to know you quickly.
That's if you're a regular one. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I mean, I've not done auctions regular since, as I said to you, the really early days. So probably 2002 was the last time we were going in any sort of regularity. And then we soon got out of the habit because we found boot sales just worked better for us.
Boot sales, I go to Malvern Antique Fair and a few other antique fairs. And to be honest with you, I can buy off dealers cheaper than I can buy off an auction house and better quality. And on top of that, I can buy what I want. You go to an auction house, yes, there's 400 or 500 lots there you can choose from. But let's say there's a miscellaneous box there, you want a couple of the pieces in there, you got to take the whole lot, fine. I go to Malvern Flea Market, they got a table of 500 items, there's hundreds of dealers there. I want one particular item, I can haggle the price I'm happy to pay and walk away with just that one item. A lot less work involved. I sell one item rather than everything.
Kelly, flipping fantastic finds, says, isn't it strange how we view car boots differently? For me, there's nothing better than walking around in a sunny field picking up bolos, she says there. As long as it's sunny.
I don't think, I have car boot sales all year round. We even had them Christmas week. They don't stop here in Cardiff and that. They still go. We have undercover ones. Bessemer Road, they've got a small shelter around the outside. But believe it or not, 2 weeks before Christmas, I spent £1,500 in Bessemer and people were stalling in the middle in the rain, getting money for Christmas. The Splot is in a big warehouse and that's on all year round. It does rain or shine, it's on.
Fantastic.
It's good for sourcing real good gear for what I buy and sell.
Anything Vintage says, I'm going to try online auctions. Thanks for the advice, Ed and Nick. Yeah, give it Kirsten says, in the short time I've been doing it, prices have shot up, but you still find treasures.
Is that at the boot sale or at auctions? Because I think Kirsten got from auction. Let me have a look at my list here.
Tea Cake says, bought a John Aldrich painting, oil on board, at auction on Tuesday this week. Walter will know him. Paid £475. Wow. Should be worth 2,500 to 3,000.
Yeah, but I've got a George Shalders that should be worth 2,000 to 3,000, and the prices are coming down on the contemporary artists. But it's still a nice buy. I got a point here I haven't raised yet for the auction lovers out there. How many of you have actually bought a job lot or bulk buy, and as you take them to the car, you come back and there's something you wanted in that box has been stolen? Because that happens a lot.
Right.
I can tell you that now. I used to, back a few years ago, obviously, when I was there, you'd all be around all the boxes. Yes, you have to have a ticket and that to take the stuff out. But the amount of times let's say there's been an 18th century drinking glass in a box of rubbish glasses I've paid a tenner for, and I go back and that 18th century glass is gone and all the crap is still left. There's all of that goes on, because it came to the point I used to take a friend with me to guard my lots. I used to put my lots into a pile while I was doing trips back and forth the car. That is a massive con for auctions. At least with a car boot sale, antique fair, you buy it, you wrap it, it's in your bag.
Yeah.
I don't know what other people's experience is with that.
I've only sold a couple of times at auction, and we weren't even there when they were being sold, so I've no idea. But as to stuff being stolen off what I bought, I've not had that issue. But I was just thinking, I have had stuff stolen from me when I sell at car boots. We sell at car boots, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a year, just to clear dead stock, clear stuff left over from job lots, all of that sort of stuff. And we've noticed, halfway through the boot sale, you'll say, "Oh, you sold that such and such then, Andrea?" No. Oh,
This
I
know.
And you hear it all the time from sellers that stuff just vanishes at car boots.
Well, Tea Cakes and Mr. Paul have just commented now. Tea Cakes have said they go in pairs so one can guard the stock. And Mr. Paul, it happens all the time, quite often. So it's obviously still going on where the good item in a miscellaneous set gets missing. Numbers don't add up. See, about 52. All right. There's somebody on your page there. Will you take less? Bought 50 toasters and only 47 come back. Buy in bulk like you do, but 3 short. That 3, 30 quid, 40 quid? That is a really, a problem with auction houses.
Yeah, Retro Boot Disc says as well, "Hi guys, I was bidding on a job lot of games. There was a rare GameCube game sealed in the lot. So you can only imagine what that was worth. I won the lot, went to collect it, and it had gone." Oh, and he says, "I refused to pay."
You can refuse to pay and argue that the item's gone, but the auctioneer never looks to do the same the second time round. I've had it where I played hell with one of the auctions in Ludlow. They always had 18th century drinking glasses in the box. And I bid on a box and I paid a lot of money for it. And the 1 or 2 I wanted were gone. I went at a quiet word with the auctioneer. I didn't kick off. I had a quiet word with him, said the ones I wanted ain't in there. And he just said, it's buyer's remorse, didn't believe me. He said, pay for it or don't come back.
Wow.
So it's down to the auctioneer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, theft goes on everywhere. We've had retail shops, and you wouldn't believe the lengths the thieves would go to steal stuff. It's just opportunists are everywhere. And you can imagine, if you've not bought at auction, at the end where everyone's picking up their lots, it's chaos. It's absolute chaos. So like people were saying, if you can go with somebody else and leave them with your stuff while you're ferrying it backwards and forwards to the car, that would be wise.
It's not just the theft, is it? Let's be honest. Let's say, for argument's sake, you only go to auction to buy the miscellaneous lots, right? You were one of the first to view the boxes. You write down your numbers, the lot numbers you want to bid on. After 100 at more dealers have gone through that miscellaneous box, how much of that stuff's got broken?
Mm-hmm.
Once it's chipped or cracked, you can't sell it.
Or moved into another box.
Or moved into another box where they've gone, oh, I'll have that and I'll bid on that box because there was more in that box.
I've seen somebody doing that before now. You could see exactly what they were doing. They were cherry picking and just like doing a bit of this and then putting them all in one box.
And that's the box then they'll go held to leather on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, people are the same wherever you go.
They are. But as you know, my entire shop, you visited the shop recently, and it's entire glass cabinets.
Yeah.
Purely shop theft.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the same. When we had, we used to have like a high street gaming and media store, and we ended up with locked glass cabinets with all the consoles, the controllers, the memory cards, and then our counter was, well, we had a glass counter.
Yeah.
2 of them in the end, 2 about sort of 6-7 foot long counters, and they were open at the back so we could reach in. We had all of our loose game cartridges and everything in. The thieves would go to the length of distracting you, and then they'd lean right over and put their arm in around the back and grab the stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing.
AntiquesArena have just put a comment down now, which I think is brilliant to share, which is he takes photographs of, or she takes photographs of all the lots they're interested in. So if something is missing, they've got to come back.
That's, yeah, clever. Yeah.
I never actually ever done that. I wasn't that bright. So that was a good one. And someone else said auctions versus car boot. It's not a choice either or. You can go to both. Yes, you can, but we're just looking at the pros and cons of both the venues, which is a debate prompted by a video I put out about a week ago.
Yeah, this isn't a case of let's find out which is best, and you know what I mean, it's just a case of discussing the pros and cons. Yeah, it's interesting, it really is. I'm actually getting quite excited about going back to auction now, just through talking about it.
Me and the opposite. The more I talk about it, remember all the negative sides of it. I can't stand it. I don't want to go back.
Oh, okay.
I sit in my shop 5 days a week, and I have a dozen people bringing stuff in over the door every day. 90% of it I turn away, 10% I buy. Then I got a charity shop 2 doors down that bring me stuff all the time. I go to car boot sales, auctions, antique fairs. To be honest with you, I haven't got time, the energy, or the will to go to an auction house anymore. I just can't do it. I sold it through them. I used to sell through Druitt Neat, Christie's up in South Kensington, regular, where if I had something really nice and tasty, I'd go to a proper auction house to achieve the money, because you need the higher end auction houses. There's grades of auction houses. So again, depending on what you're buying, depends on what auction house you go to. Your local auction house, you don't want to be filling up with a leak and things like that, or Nancarrow Porcelain. You wanted to go to Christie's or Druitt Neat or somewhere a bit more provincial.
Yeah, we still haven't sorted out where we're going to take. I had it not long ago, that collection of Second World War German pictures. We made the decision that needs to be in an international military auction. So that's something, hopefully we'll get that done this year. The plan was to do it last year. Rod's just saying that, oh no, Nick's getting auction FOMO. Clear out the loft, Andrea, incoming. We shall see.
Will you take less? Just said, what is your price to pay in theory of a box of items at auction? 1 or 2 items gets you the profit, the rest is gravy, as he puts it, which we've said, yes. But that gravy is a lot of hard work. You know, it's the low end 10, 20 pound items. Well, what I used to do was buy big job lots of metalware. I'd take out the ones I want, the rest would go in a melting pot, and I'd weigh it in for my Christmas fund. Every year I'd all the brass, I'd take out the couple of good pieces, all the brass, whether it was saleable or not, would go in a bin, and I'd weigh it in every Christmas to be melted down. I didn't have the head to deal with all of it.
Kirsten says, I love auctions. It's a day out for me, but mostly I leave bids and pick up what I win the next day. That's a really efficient way of doing it. And if people watching this are new to auctions, you can leave a bid on the book. So the auctioneer will bid up to that price for you. And if nobody in the room goes beyond it, you can still win it. And then, like Kirsten says, just turn up the next day and find out what you've won.
Yeah, a channel I use is the saleroom.com, which does a lot of online auctions. All the major auction houses are on the sale room. That's the one I'd use to bid on, and a lot of them will ship it out as well. You don't have to collect it.
Just going back a bit, because my wife Andrea was saying blimey, we often have people trying to take things out of our trolleys because we do it at boot sales. People pinch stuff straight out of our trolley. But no one has ever tried to take the whole thing. That's because Andrew said, I had someone nick my granny trolley at the car boot sale once. I had to chase them halfway around the field. Wow.
That's shocking, isn't it?
That's almost laughable.
It was his own trolley. Money Mental just commented with Andrea that he tried to claim it was his trolley. How do you prove that type of thing then? No, other than literally phoning the police in it.
Mm-hmm.
Andy's pretty good in my local boot sale. If you're caught stealing, you're banned for life. And he literally will catch hold of you and throw you personally out. He's really good as Andy down in Bessemer. That's Wrexham. Let me see.
Yeah, at boot sales, be cautious because if you are going to sell, people work in little teams, and a couple of them will distract you or say, oh, can you just open this up for me, or whatever it is, and get your complete attention, or they'll start haggling on an item they don't want. Meanwhile, at the other end of the store, their mate has gone off with your box of whatever. And it's as simple as that, because it only takes seconds. And if you're on your own, I mean, Andrea and I tend to do them together. So you've got two pairs of eyes when I'm not off around the field buying, that is, which helps. But yeah, just be really careful. And if you have a money pot, do not put it on the stool. People just nick and run. Either have your money in the car, or better, just take a bum bag, or just put the money in your pockets.
Yeah, I've been doing car boot sales 20 years now, and I know a lot of people have had the purse or box stolen from tables. Don't do it. Just keep it in your pocket, or as you say, in a bum bag. Mm-hmm. I've got a actual con for car boot sales, as much as I love them, and that is basically with an auction house, everything going through there theoretically should be genuine. If there's a fake, whether it's clothing for Andrea, whether it's fake silver or gold or fake antiques, they're going to be at a car boot sale. They target people at car boot sales with a little knowledge, but not enough to identify the fakes. The amount of silver coming out of China now and gold with stamps on that is at a fake is shocking. And I see it in every single car boot sale I go to. I see fake silver, and the fake tops I see is shocking. Name branded T-shirts and things. So that is the one thing you've got to watch at car boot sales, is the sheer volume of fakes they try and offload.
Absolutely. And you have zero comeback at a car boot either. It's a cash sale, and once that cash has changed hands, that's it. You could try come back and argue in your case, but you don't have a leg to stand on. I was just reading, and Anything Vintage says, I've had that happen to me. I had a World War I medal and somebody stole it. I was horrified. Yeah. It's sad, but it's so true. And working in retail my whole life, I've seen it all. The thieves will take anything that's not nailed down, sadly.
Do you remember the video I put out? I think it was about a year and a half ago. I worked Cabail on car boot sale, and the public don't turn up until 7 o'clock in the morning. I was there at 6. I'd set up, and there was only 3 stalls there. And I was actually walking around the stalls, no one on my stall, because it was only me and a couple of dealers there. And I had an £85 crystal bowl taken off my table. When I got back to the table, I didn't even realise for a few minutes, but one of the dealers there had taken the bowl, because you weren't a member of the public hadn't come in yet.
Right.
I actually done a film about that, because I even went looking around the cars to see if I could find which dealer had nicked it, because there was only half a dozen cars in the car park, and I couldn't find it. Never found out to this day who took that, and we're talking it was massive.
Oh, a big thing. Oh, I was imagining something they could put in their coat pocket.
You're talking 10 kilos of crystal.
Wow.
And they just blatantly picked it up and walked off.
Who has the nerve to just do that?
The sad part was, I knew every single dealer in that field by first name.
Wow.
So obviously it was someone who knew me and didn't care, and still took it.
Yeah.
But I think that was about a film about 18 months ago. I think I named that The Dark Side of the Car Boot Sales, which is it is a lot of theft on car boot sales, on pickpockets, everything, you name it. And I tell you what, I have had a lady come up to one of my stalls and swallowed a diamond ring. when she's there with 2 or 3 rings on her hand like this. This was back about 8 years ago. And she's like this. Next thing you know, she's only got 2 on her hand, and I see her swallowing it to phone the police. Anyway, she swallowed the diamond ring. I had it back about 4 weeks later.
What? I'm baffled. What?
Just in case she was searched, she swallowed it.
Wow.
There's no limits they won't go to get away with something they want, let me tell you.
Good Lord. Oh, Isaac Dweck there, hi, says, wow, 10K Crystal, and then says, you Brits are funny. Okay, appreciate that.
We try, innit? Let me see what we got here.
She's lucky she didn't choke, he says. Yeah, damn right.
She's lucky I didn't choke her, more like. I wanted to. If it had been a bloke, I probably would have.
Crumbs.
What is your best and worst experience then of car boot sales?
Now there's a question. Worst experience was I had my wallet stolen. I was sorting out a deal with somebody, and I made the tragic mistake of just popping it down on the stool while I handed the money over, and somebody must have just reached in and taken it. No, I had it twice. I did that at Jumble Sale as well. Sorry, that's Andrew just reminding me. It happened at a Jumble as well. But that was, sorry?
You had a chain on your wallet.
Oh, I do. Oh, I'll lose anything. But that was down to my own stupidity, really, and giving somebody an opportunity to just lift it. Best experience at a car boot? I don't know. What would our best experience at a car boot sale be? I've had some really nice chats with viewers that have seen us on YouTube and met us at car boot sales. And that kind of makes our day, you know, when they come up and say, you know, you've really helped, you know, start our business, or, you know, we've saved for a holiday because of your videos, this sort of thing.
Now, I'm the opposite to that. I freeze. I get approached quite often, and I never know what to say. I panic. I go deer in headlight mode, and I just stand there. Oh, yeah, okay. And it almost comes across as rude, and it's not. It's panicking. I genuinely don't know what to say. So many people, and I've never been a people person with depression and everything else. So when someone approaches me and they've seen hundreds of my films and they just want to say hello and that, I just go, I'm not worthy.
Yeah, that's a shame. I mean, I find it, I do struggle to know what to say. So generally I just say, thank you so much for watching, and then let them chat, and it's quite easy after that point. But it is a weird scenario, isn't it, though? But yeah, I do like that more these days. I kind of got used to it. And another highlight at a car boot sale was I went up to a stall, and this guy had lots of new sealed stuff, video games and this, that and the other. And we worked out a deal with what he had there. And then I said to him, have you got any more of this stuff? Well, first of all, I was intrigued where it came from. It felt too good to be true. So I thought I'd better do a little bit of due diligence and ask him where this stuff has come from. And he explained that he worked for a big firm, and their end of line stuff they donated to Macmillan, and through him he fundraised by selling this stuff off that his company gave to him to fundraise for Macmillan. Anyway, we had a long chat about it, and it's a charity we've always supported anyway. So I said, okay, have you got more of this? And we arranged for me to go around there, and it led to me buying a transit van full of this stuff, just through having the foresight to have a chat with the guy and being very open about the fact that I was a dealer, and questioning the validity of this stock that he had and where it had come from. And I ended up getting on really well with the guy, went around his house, looked at all his stock and bought everything.
You know, I don't doubt that one bit with you. I've seen how you buy. But that's another good thing of the car boots and that, is the relationships you build up with everybody. You get to know all the dealers, you get to know the public. And to be honest with you, I never had a lot of friends. So for me, when I go to the car boot sale, I'd sit down, I'd have a cup of tea, I'd talk to people, I'd ask them how their weekend was, everything. It's a nice social event. And some of the car boot sales are absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
The one thing I hate at car boot sales, though, is I've looked that price up on eBay. If you ask the price.
Every other stall now. I can remember when if in the early days of doing eBay, I would mention it, and back then people would be like, "What's eBay?" Now every other stall, they quote eBay to you and the prices.
As if you're going to pay that price on the car boot sale.
Exactly, it's madness. I just wanted to read. Andrew Moneymental says, "My best experience was picking up Castlevania game for £1. If you don't know, that's a really sought after high value PS1 game. And worst experience was the trolley gate where he had his trolley nick. But then he goes, the first time I met Nick, he hugged me. That was a seminal experience in my life. Yeah, I'm a bit of a hugger." Good stuff.
I give you the question. I can't even think of my best and worst. Well, I know my worst. I spent £800 on a Lalique crystal bowl and broke it carrying it to the car. That was my worst. And there was no comeback on that because I wasn't even in the auction house. I walked outside. I was walking to the car and the cardboard box collapsed.
Oh.
And that taught me a valuable lesson to always take plastic crates, always take bubble wrap, because I lost £800 that day.
Oh.
That was worst. But it's not the money. I really don't care about the money. I care about the items. I'm a hoarder. When something survived 100 years or 200 years or 300 years and I break it, I break my heart.
Yeah.
I'd rather take the item home and love the item.
Exactly. It survived that long. You'd owned it for 5 minutes and smashed it.
That has to be my worst. My best, I've had some really good times, to be honest with you, so I can't really pinpoint one. Well, I will actually. Car boot sales would be my best one, which was, I used to go to Gloucester. I don't know how many people come from the Gloucester area. I'm talking before they moved it and built Tesco's on it. Because originally it was where Tesco's is in Gloucester now. Then they moved it up to a car park. Then they built a purpose area for it up on the bypass. And I used to go down to the car boot sale. Then I'd go over to Malvern. And then from there, I'd stop in the pub on the way home and I'd have an afternoon pub lunch at the side of the river, just watching people going up and down, rowing and all the rest of it. That's probably one of the highlights of what I think. It's the lifestyle.
Yeah, I do. I mean, going back to, I think, Kelly's comment way back, I am at my most happy and content, I think, walking around a car boot sale in the summer, you know, getting some food, getting a burger halfway through and sitting there with Andrea having a chat.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I get the thrill out of the hunt. Usually we'll find a few good things, so you get that satisfaction of feeling that you found some goodies and you're out there with your other half enjoying the day. I don't think it gets better for me than that.
It's not work, is it?
No.
It doesn't really count as work. It counts as a day out shopping and then you go for a meal. You can't ask for better than that. I was looking for a comment that I saw earlier, which will, you and Andrea to do the occasional boot sale, it may affect you, which is basically, I don't know who put it up, I'll have a look in a minute. You can't unpack your car for the public trying to get in the back of your car and unpacking it for you. Do you find that? If I don't, as a dealer, if I work a car boot sale, I'm so well known, they just leave me to it and they'll come back later and see if I got any gems.
Yeah, the way we get around that, because it is, you know, people will be in the back of your car and trying to get the stuff out for you. What we tend to do is we'll pull up and we'll go and wander around for half hour and then we'll set up.
So your tip would be, don't set up straight away, let other cars come in so they focus on them and then set up.
Yeah.
That way then the dealers know that you're not a newbie to the car boot sales because you've already parked up and you're having to wander around. So they'll automatically then assume you're the dealer and they'll come back to you later. Yeah,
well, it kills two birds with one stone because we get the chance to, we're in the boot sale super early because we're in with, as they're letting the cars in. So we get to go around and have first look at all the stuff. And then the dealers that are whizzing around in everyone's boots have gone round and gone home or gone to the next boot sale by the time we set up. So the real crazies have gone by then. So that's what we tend to do.
But for anybody who does a car boot sale, either do what Nick has said and leave the boot shut until they move on to other cars, or simply don't be afraid to just tell them to get out of the car until you've set up. The amount of times I've seen them fighting literally over stuff in the back of people's car. They don't even know the price of it, and they're fighting over it, they're breaking it. And it can be very scary for some people. It really can. I've seen a lot of women in tears over the years where it gets that violent, if you like, or aggressive. Don't be afraid to just tell them to it's off and come back when you've set up. And if you've got even on the land.
Absolutely. I've seen many people just say, everybody put the stuff down, let me set up. Yes. I've heard women just screaming, get the F off my stool, let me set up. Because they've got people waving money at them. How much is, and it just gets chaos.
Time when they steal the most. You imagine that confusion for if you're there on your own selling. It's bad enough when you and Andrea and you set up afterwards. And they still. Could you imagine with 30 or 40 people unloading the boxes out of your car without your permission and rummaging? They don't know what you got in that car. And they'll soon have enough to say if they cut themselves on a broken vase that somebody else has broken or something, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's chaos. I just wanted to quickly answer Eric. He was asking about, was that with all the water bottles? Was that the deal he was talking about? Yeah, the water bottles was part of that deal. Yeah, all of the software, hundreds of tripods and all that stuff. It was that deal, yeah.
Was that the charity deal you was just saying, the Macmillan one?
Yeah, the guy who was selling for Macmillan, yeah.
Should have kept his number for future reference in case he had more.
I kept in touch with him and said, we'll do more deals in the future. But I don't know if he moved jobs or he just didn't want to deal with me anymore because that contact dried up. He stopped replying, so I assume he moved on to other things. Do
you have regular contacts, dealers? Because I know if I go to Spot Market, I have 4 dealers that the second they see me come in, they've got stuff in the car. They call me over. This is what I've got for you. I have regular people who will put stuff aside for me that doesn't even go onto the table. So it doesn't even become, publicly available, which is a real good thing about car boot sales.
I don't really, to be honest. There's a few that I know by face, don't really know their names, and we'll have a chat about stuff. But no, I mean, I probably should do. That's something I've always felt a bit awkward about, and I think I need to get over that. Same with charity shops. I know people have got some really good contacts where they hold stuff back in charity shops for them, but I've always felt awkward about having that conversation, which is strange, and I should do it really. But no, I don't have any contacts at boot sales.
Well, I feel awkward with the charity shops because if they come in and ask me to value something, I don't like to buy it off on them. Because the way if I'm valuing it accurately, there's no profit left on there for me. So the only time I buy out to my local charity shop is if they haven't brought it into me and they'll value themselves. They go on eBay and price something up. If I think they've underpriced it, I'll buy it. But if they send stuff into me, let's say for argument's sake, this week they sent in a gold cross and gold chain. I weighed it, I valued it for them. I told them what I'd pay. I said, if you can't beat that, bring it in. But as for car boot sales, I've got contacts at almost every boot sale I go to. I've been going there that long. I've built up contacts with the regulars. That Charles Horner and enamel pendant I bought the Art Nouveau one the other day. I paid £50 for it. It'd never been on the stall. It was never publicly offered out. They bought it in privately. It was in the back of the car. As soon as I got there, they called me over, offered it to me. I was the first one to be offered it. I bought it. £50, £200 to £300 worth.
Wow.
I'd gone to an auction house. I couldn't have afforded it. It'd have been up £100 plus in the auction, £150. And I'd have been competing with 100 people who wanted it. So.
I was just reading Eric again. He says he remembers Andrea telling me that you're not keeping this stuff in the living room. That's the trouble with buying the big hauls, is because we run everything from home now. It all has to come in the house. Yeah.
That's the trouble with doing this job. Let's be totally honest with you. I can guarantee every reseller there, other than the odd one or two, like George and I, that have storage lockers. I've got storage lockers. I got a double garage. I got an attic, and I still filled my house. Guarantee you, all the resellers are exactly the same. We all work from a little office or a living room or whatever, and we've all got rooms full of stock.
Yeah.
What do you call that? Your dead pile, is it?
Death piles.
Yeah, that's what you call it, yes.
Well,
I knew it was well.
There's levels of it, Edward, and you're top level.
I don't even come into it, honest to God, right? I could probably fill 3 or 4 auctions just with what I got in the house and the attic and the storage lockup. But I told you, I've been a hoarder. It don't matter how much stock I got, I can't stop buying. I really can't.
Oh, Andrea's saying that she loves the jumble trails because they're a fun day out. Yeah, I think that would be both of our absolute favorite way to source, because it's like a proper treasure hunt. You actually got a map with all the stalls in a village or a town on, and you're whizzing around and trying to get around as quickly as possible to all these stalls. And because you're at people's houses, I don't know, that they put all sorts out, the bulky stuff, the random stuff they might not even. And many times I've said, you know, they'll have like some PS2 games out on the store. So you'll say, have you got the console? And they're like, oh, I do. Yeah, it's somewhere. And they'll go and grab it for you. Whereas at the boot sale, if someone hasn't thought to bring something with them, they can't go and grab it. So it's amazing what stuff you can ferret out from there.
Have you heard of this? So what is that?
Well, they're called various things, like a jumble trail, or basically it's like in America, they have yard sales. So somebody will organize, let's say in Hitchin here, somebody will organize one. And then you have the stall out the front of your house, and you'll produce a little map that shows where all the locations are. And on a certain day, everyone will have a yard sale or a little stall at the front of their house. And then you go around. It's like a boot sale spread out across the town, really.
I absolutely, I wish they'd done them in Wales. That would be perfect, because we'd all treasure hunt, doesn't we? And that would be perfect following a treasure map. Honest to God, I've never heard of anything like that. Our little feats and jumble sales now are in like a church hall, and you get 100 people in a room built for 20, and you can't move, and I can't stand them. You can get stuff for 10, but I get claustrophobic with the crowds. But what you were just saying, amazing.
The beauty of it is most of these are set up by individuals. Anyone can just start it up with the power of Facebook now, and local groups and all of that. You can promote it easily and set one up yourself. You could do one where you are, or in a local town or whatever. You could start it.
Trouble is, I like the buying, not the selling. Even in the shop here, I don't like selling.
Yeah, but if we've said for the last year or so, we're going to set one up in Hitchin. We're not going to have a stall, or if we do, we'd let our daughter run it, because we'd be off around the stalls. That's the point of setting one up for us.
Right. Well, I absolutely love it. I think it sounds like something off Dora the Explorer that my kids used to watch. Honestly, God, I love it. I'd love to have a go. So if I ever see one of them locally enough, I'm going to it.
Oh, it's great. It's almost like being on like a rally, and like Andrea's the co-pilot with the little map. Or she punches it into like Google Maps, and then we've got that telling us where to go, and then we're looking out for. Usually around here they do it where they'll hang balloons outside of the house, so you can tell when you're near. It's just so much fun, and we find amazing stuff at those. Really,
honest to God, it sounds amazing. Just looking at some of these comments now, and anything vintage, pommy pickers. There's a few people saying they got the same problem as us with offices and stock rooms not full. Pommy pickers have said, Rod, would I say I'm overstocked? No.
Yes.
In this job, we don't get a pension. So anything we can build up and save and hoard is there for a rainy day. So if we get ill, we don't get a wage. If let's say we have a blizzard. Well, in Wales, it could last for a year. I'm not going to run out of stock. And, Nick's not going to run out of stock. Have you seen the shelves he got? But, yeah. So I'm not overstocked. And if someone comes in fact, I only bought that yesterday. Come in over the door, had to have it, Waterford crystal jug. I just can't stop myself. If it comes in, I got to buy it. It is an addiction, though. I will give you that. Isn't it? It's more an addiction than a job.
it satisfies something inside us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this. You know what I mean?
It's the same betting on the horses, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Same as.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to go soon. I've got to package up my orders because I'm running late today. I've sold some random. Shall I show you a few of the random things that I've sold? I've sold a flea trap today. I've sold three USB scanners. What else am I packaging? Oh, this is nice. This is one of Andrea's. Nice little glass owl. That's sold. How much did you get for that in the end? It's gone to a subscriber, hasn't it?
Yeah, £11.50.
£11.50 for nothing amazing, but really nice thing. And then this is cool. Butter mold and dish, but it's got a little stamp that you press into the butter.
Right.
You've seen these.
I know.
Yeah.
Sold the old ones many a times.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of value in it, but we picked. Actually, this came from one of those jumble trail things I was just talking about. So yeah, I need to get the rest of this packaged. So I'm going to have to leave you there, mate.
No problem at all. We've got loads of questions we didn't get to, but we can get to them another day, do another video another time.
Yeah, I think we should do these every couple of months or something, or so on. Because yeah, pick a topic and have a chat.
Yeah, will do. Nick, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. And I've put a link to Nick's channel in the description for everybody to go over and subscribe if you're not subscribed to Nick.
Fantastic. It's been a pleasure. Okay, thanks. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.
Bye, Andrea. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed.